Yo, let's talk about drop shipping overseas. What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today we're going to be talking about outsourcing stuff overseas. Is it better for your business? Is it cheaper for your business? Or is there a better alternative? Now, the reason I'm making this video is because a while ago I made a video about using a rubber stamp for my retail bags and for shipping supplies. Somebody in the comments said, man, that takes too long. It'd be way cheaper if you ordered these overseas from a manufacturer and have them screen printed and shipped to you. That person is partly right. Now, the first number that they gave me was like, it'll be like 5 or 10 cents a bag. That's cool. So I said, who's the manufacturer that does that? And then when I asked that, then they said, well, it would be 65 cents a bag from the manufacturer that I use, but you would have to order 10,000. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if business is booming and your time is valuable. You don't want to be there stamping bags, but the option to stamp your bags instead of getting them screen printed is a cheaper alternative to having something screen printed in bulk. That's the part of the video that the person didn't understand. Was the alternative that I'm talking about is the cheaper, easier, less expensive way of getting something done pretty much the same. So we're talking about retail bags. In the video I'm showing myself, it's on Instagram, you can see it. The comments are still there. I think I pinned the comment also, so you can see what the exchange is like. But the person said, hey man, that's cool, but it's cheaper. You could get 5 to 10 cents a bag if you went through China or you went overseas. So I asked them for the manufacturer. They told me the manufacturer that they go through is 65 cents a bag for 10,000 bags. And then I said, thanks, but no thanks. Because at 65 cents a bag and you have to order 10,000, that's $6,500 that you would have to spend on retail bags. Now, if you're booming and you can go through 10,000 bags quickly, cool. But at the same exact time, storing 10,000 bags, you need a lot of space for that. I buy my bags on Amazon by the hundreds, like there's just 100 retail bags, and that box is pretty big already. I don't know if you know what 100 craft paper retail bags looks like, but it's pretty big, and that's only 100. So if I needed to do 10,000, I would need a lot more space to store just retail bags. We're not talking t-shirts, we're just talking pre-printed retail bags. And once again, we're talking $6,500. They said 10,000 bags at 65 cents a piece. Now, if we did simple math for my way of doing things, which is buy 100 bags for 20 bucks on Amazon, and then you got a rubber stamp. The size that I get with the ink is about 40 bucks. That's $60 right there. So if I'm doing the math, each bag comes out to 60 cents complete. I buy 100 bags, I buy a rubber stamp with the ink, and it comes out to 60 cents a bag. I'm already come out cheaper than his option. I don't have to worry about storing 10,000 bags somewhere, and I already own the rubber stamp. So every time I do this now, I just have to buy another 100 bags for 20 bucks off of Amazon and sit here and stamp stuff. I could do it while I'm watching Netflix. I could do it while I'm taking a break from pressing t-shirts. Not a big deal, but that's how I operate. Does that mean everybody has to operate that way? No, it doesn't. For the person that orders 10,000 bags for 65 cents each, if that works for them, then that works for them. The option is cool, but you have to remember when you're ordering things overseas, you're ordering in bulk. So the initial investment is always going to be crazy. Somebody might see that and be like, oh, 65 cents a bag, that's pretty cheap. I'm going to go that route, until they find out they have to order 10,000 and they don't know what 10,000 bags looks like. Now you're stuck with 10,000 bags in your garage, stacked ceiling high, and you're not even moving that many units. My retail space, I'm only open maybe 1 weekend out of the month, so I don't need 10,000 bags. So ordering that kind of stuff overseas doesn't make sense to myself, because I know the volume that I'm putting out. I know exactly what I'm doing here, and I'm pretty realistic with myself. Now, when is a good time to actually outsource stuff versus doing it on your own? Because you guys see me using transfers, you guys see me pressing my own t-shirts, fulfilling my own orders, all that good stuff. People always want to know, well, when do you actually outsource stuff? When do I get stuff screen printed? When's a good time to get stuff drop shipped or go overseas for certain things? When it comes to getting patches made, if I need an ass load of patches, like over 250, I'll get them done overseas. The cost is a little cheaper. I know what I'm going to put them on. I know why I need that many patches, so that's why I go that that route. If this is just for a product for myself and I don't know if it's going to sell and I'm only going to do maybe 50 to 100, then I'll keep it stateside. I'd rather pay the premium and get it done stateside. I don't have to deal with customs. I don't have to deal with long turnaround times. And like I said, it's not for a ton of patches. It's only for 50 to 100. And if I don't know if that product's selling, then I don't need 300, 500 patches. But let's say after I get those initial 100 and the item moves, maybe I press those patches on a hat and that hat's moving, so I know that I need more, then I would outsource to get the 500 made. But my first option is never just to start outsourcing stuff. My first option is, what's the cheapest and easiest way to get something done first? One, I'm a cheapskate. Two, I pride myself on quality control. I want to make sure that everything that I put out is created by me and it's up to my standards before the customer gets it. So let's say I have like a banger t-shirt, like the t-shirt that I have is selling and it's moving crazy, and I'm pressing it with transfers and I'm doing my thing. If I know that I can sell X amount of t-shirts in a week, I'll get that t-shirt screen printed in the sizes that's popular to me. So then that way it makes my fulfillment way easier. But before I get to that point, I have to make sure that that t-shirt is really selling and it's selling at a high volume. Just because I have a banger week doesn't mean that that following week is going to be the same exact thing. I need to make sure that that design is going to be sustainable and actually keep growing for me to be like, all right, I'm going to get this thing screen printed to make my life a little bit easier. Until then, I'm going to use transfers and a heat press all the way through. Same exact thing goes for embroidery. I embroider most of my hats until I have a hat that sells like crazy. Then I'll outsource it to a bigger shop and get multiple colors made and multiple hats made at one time. Because I have a single head embroidery machine, it doesn't make sense for me to jam that machine up trying to knock down 120 hats when I could have a bigger shop do 200 hats because I know that hat's gonna sell. But if I'm only moving a dozen hats, 24 hats every week, it's easy for me to come in on a Sunday and knock out a bunch of hats and replenish what I need for the following week. But if the hat's booming and I'm selling 60 to 75, 80 hats a week, then obviously I'm going to get those things embroidered from another shop to stock up on because I know they're going to move. They're not going to sit on the shelf long. I know I'm going to be moving them. So you have to pay attention to what your workload is like. You have to pay attention to what the transactions look like in order to understand when to outsource and when not to outsource. Now for things like croc charms, keychains, lanyards, things like that you necessarily don't make in-house, outsourcing that kind of stuff is cool. Enamel pins, stickers, all of that stuff can be outsourced, whether you're going overseas or you're staying stateside. Manufacturing is going to be different for all of those different products. Like for myself, I buy stickers through people like G6 Customs. Sometimes I might see like a certain sticker company run an ad on Instagram and that ad catches my attention and they're like 500 stickers for like 60 bucks. And it's like for this weekend only. Obviously that's a good deal, so I'm going to go that route. Or let's say it's something like socks, not sublimated socks, but socks that are like knitted socks that have the design actually sewn into the actual sock. And let's say it's a black sock with white print or white embroidery. Stuff like that, I'll outsource. And most of the time, outsourcing overseas is the easier call. Finding manufacturers for that stuff, pretty easy. I know a lot of people use Alibaba or Aliexpress or whatever it's called. A lot of people are finding manufacturers through Instagram and dealing direct that way, or do the old-fashioned way and Google it. You'll find manufacturers from all over the place and you'll be able to create relationships with them and get things going. But remember, drop shipping and going overseas, it always sounds better to go straight to the manufacturer, but sometimes you don't need that amount of stuff. Sometimes it might sound cheaper to go that route, but sometimes it's more expensive to you to take up very valuable real estate within your garage or your workspace, wherever you're working, and now you're storing hundreds of thousands of things that's not moving. So for myself, I pay attention to the patterns, I pay attention to the transactions coming in before I decide to outsource anything. I try to do as much as possible in-house with my own hands first and get it rolling. And once I see something catch a little bit of traction, that's when I start entertaining actually outsourcing things, because I need to make sure that my shelf space is not going to be used up on stock that I can't move. The only things I'm going to outsource in bulk are things that are already moving, because I know I can actually sell those things. There's nothing worse than having shelves of dead stock of things that you can't move and just overcrowding your workspace for no real reason. Because you got a good deal on it, that's cool, but at the same exact time, you need to recoup your money. So going back to actually getting retail bags done overseas, it doesn't make sense for myself to stock 10,000 bags just because they're 65 cents each. When you do the number breakdown on my strategy, it comes out to 60 cents a bag, which is cheaper. And I don't have to deal with stocking 10,000 bags. I'm only stocking one box of 100. And when I see that box getting low, then I'll order another 100. That's all it is. But to think about stocking 10,000 bags is crazy to me, just because they're 65 cents each. And that's me spending $6,500 on some bags that are just gonna get thrown away anyways. I'd rather put that money towards t-shirts and hats and actual products that I can make money off of. So remember, you're gonna hear a lot of people talk about outsourcing and manufacturing stuff overseas and all this good stuff. If you do not have the customers and the volume for that type of ordering, stay away from it. It might sound cool because everybody's talking about going directly to the manufacturer and blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same exact time, be very realistic with yourself. If you could get the shit done for way cheaper doing it yourself in-house, do it. That's what I do. Like I said, quality control is everything to me, so I know exactly what I'm making and what I'm putting out to the customer. It would suck if you put in a big order with the manufacturer overseas and then the sizing was off, or the print was off, or the shit looked crazy once you got it in and you can't sell it no more. And these companies aren't taking returns. Like, you're gonna get pallet load of products, you're gonna ship that back because it wasn't up to your standards? No, chalk it up as a loss and you're gonna have to reorder that stuff. So be realistic with yourself, when to outsource, when not to outsource. You're gonna have to really, really think about it, humbly think about it, because a lot of people are always gonna bite off more than they can chew because they're thinking in the back of their head, oh man, if I get 10,000 of these things, I could sell them, so it's not a problem. But if you don't already have the clientele for that stuff and you aren't moving volume like that, just because you get that volume in bulk doesn't mean that money's just gonna fall into your lap. So if you already outsource stuff, let me know in the comments. Also, help people out in the comments. If they're looking for manufacturers, share the manufacturer that you use in the comments also. A lot of people want to gatekeep this information and they always want to say, I outsource stuff and I don't have these issues and my manufacturer is the best, but they never want to give up their manufacturer. If you're not willing to help the people, then just stay out the comments. But if you're willing to help, drop your manufacturers in the comments for the people that are looking for that information. Let people know what your experience is like. If you had a good one or a bad one, it doesn't even matter. But as long as you're helping the people, then we're all moving forward here. You can follow me on Instagram, BigBrandoTV. That's exactly where you can find the conversation I was having with that person that was telling me about the 10,000 bags or whatever it is. It's on there. It's the post about my rubber stamp on a retail bag. You can read through the comments. I think they put the manufacturer in there. I'm not 100% sure, but you could go through there and read it and check it out for yourself. Appreciate you guys for watching. Catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah.